Alright, you and I are jumping right back in with Ghoul turning the battlefield into a literal oven. He is flickering like a ghost, vanishing and reappearing through hellish flames. The demons watching can feel the pressure of something heavy approaching. It is happening way too fast. One poor soldier realizes his skin is being sliced before he even sees a shadow. Ghoul is a blur behind enemy lines, leaving nothing but charred ground in his wake. Meanwhile, Zeke is completely clueless about the total massacre happening right in front of him. He is way too obsessed with Shu Yan's barrier. But the second Ghoul gets within range, the Wrath Demon Captain feels a chill that makes his heart stop cold. Before the demon can even twitch, the young orc is already breathing down his neck. Next thing we see is a flaming fist caving Zeke's skull straight into the concrete. Ghoul is not holding back. He is pouring every bit of rage into flattening that butcher's face, while black, liquid tears stream from his eyes. It is brutal and honestly satisfying. A single strike reshapes the terrain as the captain gets dragged through solid concrete. The impact kicks up a massive cloud of debris, followed by a boom that shakes the whole world. Ghoul looms over his victim, his killing intent still at 100%. He's got his foot planted firmly on Zeke's head. Imagine being hyped up just to get bodied instantly. Look, I guess Ghoul is just built differently. Looking at the monster that murdered Chief Garrick, the kid's anger explodes, and he decides that a simple stomp is not enough. He slams his foot down even harder, and that snapping sound? Yeah, that is definitely bone. A circle of raging fire erupts, sealing the execution in a ring of heat. The flames are becoming so massive, they are basically turning into a fire cyclone. As the heat rises, so does Ghoul's hatred for these invaders. He is finally reaching the breaking point. The blood orc inside him is fully awake now. Turns out, all it took was painting the ground red with demon blood to trigger the most dangerous kid on the planet. Helena looks over and cannot believe the carnage. Even the nearby soldiers are paralyzed. Their supposedly invincible Captain Zeke just got deleted in a single second. Unreal. Now pay attention here. You can actually hear his heart throbbing like a drum. Ghoul is barely holding it together, struggling to contain that scorching power inside his small body. Just a few meters away, Elder Guran is going through absolute torture. That creep Shuya-un is laughing like a maniac while staring at the massive Elder Spirit beast. He tells the Beastmaster to hold on while he literally peels the spirit away. It looks like the Elder is being skinned alive as his draconic power is slowly shaved off. Those Envy Army mages are sweating, trying to keep the barrier steady. They need this process protected from any outside interference while they steal the Elder's very soul. Ghoul is close enough to hear every single roar of agony coming from that dome. He slowly turns his head, his eyes seeking out the source of those screams. Recognizing Gramps' voice acts like a bucket of cold water. The dark clouds in his eyes briefly clear, and for a moment, the sweet, troublemaking kid is back. But then he sees Shuya-un smirking at the torture. That is it. The dark clouds come back 10 times worse. Seeing that disgusting display of cruelty just flipped his kill switch. He leaves the butcher's mangled corpse behind and starts stomping toward the dome. Every step is a warning. He is coming to tell Shuya-un exactly what happens when you touch family. He reaches the edge of the defensive barrier. Ghoul grunts, coating his leg in intense fire, priming himself for a point-blank blast. This is going to be one hell of a kick. One strike is all it takes to shatter a shield made by multiple elite mages. That supposedly unbreakable defensive spell just crumbles like cheap glass under the kid's heel. Ghoul's fire is not just burning, it looks like it is actually eating the essence of the barrier, disintegrating everything it touches with terrifying efficiency. You and I both saw that smirk on Shuya-un's face, right? Well, watch it evaporate the second he sees the orc closing the distance with that concentrated flame. These are not your average flames. This is the same power that erased the butcher's life in a heartbeat. And honestly, this attack looks even more devastating than the last one. Shuya-un grits his teeth, looking totally frustrated. His men were supposed to handle the trash. Now the old demon has to stop his little theft to avoid getting kicked into orbit. He is so greedy that even while dodging for his life, he is still trying to cling to the spirit's essence. The impact is so massive it creates a literal vacuum. Suction draws in every demon nearby, including the portal maker Su-men. The entire platform the Baron built gets dislodged, with Elder Guran still pinned to it. Luckily, the shockwave is strong enough to knock the old orc free from the platform's grasp. But man, the damage is already done. Guran is in really bad shape. The spirit beast coating his body is almost gone, and he is bleeding from everywhere. Shuya-un manages to find his footing, but he is absolutely fuming with rage. He does not care about his dying soldiers or the chaos. He is just livid that his soul-cast Arendama was interrupted before he could finish his masterpiece. The decrepit demon is throwing a fit because he failed to fully extract the dragon. He is staring at the smoke, desperate to find the person who ruined his perfect day. Meanwhile, Su-men and the Baron are sent tumbling toward each other. They have no idea what just happened. One second, everything was fine. The next, a bomb went off. It is too chaotic to see anything through the dust. Shu Yan is acting like a spoiled brat who lost his toy, screaming for someone to blame for the disruption. He only managed to grab half of that draconic spirit beast. It was supposed to make him perfect, and now he is stuck with a half-baked power-up. He is beyond pissed. Ghoul decides to introduce himself properly. He reappears through the smoke with his leg pulled back for a full swing. This kid is literally flexible enough to kick his own head. Shuya-un catches a glimpse of the incoming strike. His voice turns cold the moment he sees the brat responsible for messing up his big plans. It is go time. Everything is moving at lightning speed. Even though he is old, the demon takes a perfect stance, dodging Ghoul's assault with zero wasted movement. He is still a pro. Now Ghoul is stuck in mid-air, his attack missing the mark. He is completely wide open for whatever Shu Yi-un does next, and the demon is not feeling merciful. The old man plants his feet deep into the concrete, building up insane momentum. Then, with an explosion of strength, he launches a counter kick aimed straight at the orc's ribs. Ghoul barely manages to get his arms up, but the demon's leg is as big as his whole body. The sheer force behind that hit is absolutely terrifying to watch. The young orc is sent flying like a rag doll toward the distant mountains. Dust and smoke erupt again because every single exchange between these two is just pure destruction. Ghoul keeps soaring through the air, bouncing off the ground painfully with no sign of stopping. That kick was a total game changer, and it clearly hurt like hell. So, you and I just saw a legend get sent into orbit. When the momentum finally dies, Ghoul crashes onto the cold ground, completely unconscious. Rough day. Alright, you and I are about to see one of the most brutal village massacres ever put on paper. The fallen orcs are everywhere, swimming in their own blood while others are left chained up like cattle. Is our boy Gull about to join the massive body count of Pua's village? The young orc grits his teeth, trying his absolute best to crawl back up from the dirt. He is pushing through the agony while the demon Shu Yan slowly stalks toward him. To say this demon captain is beyond pissed off would be a massive understatement. Gull basically ruined his one shot at absorbing every drop of the legendary golden dragon. For an envy demon army captain, that is a sin he simply cannot afford to forgive. Gull was on an absolute rampage earlier, but now he is just bloodied and broken. Even Ahmad, the voice inside his head, has never seen him in such bad shape before. From his mental throne, Ahmad yells at Gull to get his ass back up for round 2. The orc tries, but he is losing way too much blood far too quickly. Meanwhile, Shu Yan is just looming there like a creep. If Ahmad had control of the body, he would be dishing out 10 times the pain to this demon captain. Shu Yan has seen blood orcs before, but not since he was a kid. He definitely did not expect to find a living relic of the past standing in front of him tonight. He screams that Gull picked the wrong demon to mess with today. Wasting his chance to steal the golden dragon's power was a move that basically sealed the orc's fate. Now, pay attention here, because this is where the demon's plan starts falling apart. Just as he starts threatening Gull, his heart begins beating like a broken drum. Shock sends him shivering uncontrollably. It is the golden dragon power inside his body. He has not fully mastered that massive level of energy yet. He is incredibly frustrated that he only got half the power from the Beast Master. Bracing himself, his rage toward Gull just keeps hitting new heights today. He brags that nobody in the world can save the orc now. Shu Yan steps forward, and his electrifying presence literally starts shattering the ground below. Poor Gull is still reeling from all the damage he took. On the verge of tears, he starts whispering to Ahmad in the back of his mind. He thinks he is done and cannot fight this giant lump of angry demon meat anymore. Ahmad just sounds annoyed, asking if he forgot what these monsters did. Thinking back to the torture his Grams suffered, Gull's internal fire starts burning a whole lot hotter. This kid is finally getting his second wind. As the dust clears, the sight of the slaughtered orcs becomes painfully clear. Many died from losing limbs, while others were just tossed aside like trash. Some were crushed by brutal concussive blows. Ahmad asks if this is really the limit of his rage. The blood orc inside Gull knows better than that. They are the same person, and the only path to revenge is to massacre every demon just like they killed the villagers. Gull starts trembling from the raw emotion. The image shows him the only way to satisfy the burning rage inside his chest. This effectively gives our young orc a massive power boost for round 2. A much deadlier version of Gull is coming. As hatred consumes his small body, the face of Ahmed in his mind twists into a devilish, terrifying laugh. You and I both know that quiet main characters are the most dangerous ones, right? After the initial explosion of fury, a strange and serene stillness settles over him. In the middle of the hellfire, Gull takes a long, steady breath. He is centering himself as the calm before the storm finally starts to pass. When he opens his eyes, he launches forward like a bullet from a gun. Shu Yan was actually expecting the little guy to still have quite a bit of gas left. He charges right back at him with a rush of his own. This absolute lunatic looks like he is actually having the time of his life. He throws a heavy knee to deal some serious damage in one shot. Gul easily shuts down that unstoppable momentum with his own leg. The immovable object just met the unstoppable force. A massive sonic boom erupts, clearing the entire field as their powers collide with insane pressure. Sadly, our boy loses the power struggle here, but he does not fly away like a ragdoll. He manages to land perfectly on his feet. Without wasting a heartbeat, he fires himself back like a mortar shell. Shu Yan definitely was not ready for him to recover and counterattack that quickly. Gul slams a kick directly into the demon's chest. Looking at that ugly face he is making, yeah, it is safe to say that one hurt like a mofo. Shaking from the pain, Shu Yan winds up a fist as tight as possible. He answers the kick with a punch that would have deleted any normal person's life. The soldiers know better than to step in. This fight is way above their pay grade as Gul gets absolutely hammered all over the place. The Envy Army captain did not get his rank by being weak. He has the experience to back it up, and man, he is beyond furious. Seeing that Gul is still breathing in the rubble, Shu Yan will not stop. He taps into the Golden Dragon power well, the half he managed to steal. Golden scales start popping up on his body while he prepares his finisher. The captain screams out for his lieutenant named Suri. The second seat jumps into action immediately, running forward to take her orders from the big boss. It seems Shu Yan is having a hard time digesting all that spirit beast power. He needs an exit strategy to get out of the village right now. This is looking really bad for Gul. He looks like he is out cold, but his legs are still twitching, so do not count him out just yet. Suri uses her scepter to tear through space and open a dimension gate for their escape. The young orc knows exactly what they are doing. He will not let them run without paying the price. He is going to push himself past his limits just to stop the Envy Captain and his goons. After everything they did, Shu Yan looks back. He is actually starting to feel a little threatened by this persistent kid, and he hates it. He claims the boy just got lucky, but promises they will meet again soon. Gul isn't listening to any of that arrogant trash the captain is spewing. After positioning his body for maximum speed, Gul launches into the air like a missile. His roars of pure rage fill the field with heat. He starts falling back to Earth at terrifying speeds, looking exactly like a meteor heading for a direct hit on the land. As the demon vanishes into the portal, trust me, you and I need to see if this orc meteor actually lands. Stay tuned for the next part. Alright, you and I are about to dive into the most chaotic revenge spree ever. Shuya is such a coward, talking trash while running like a rat. The Envy Army is nowhere to be found. Gao's massive strike hits nothing but dirt, leaving a crater. Kalana is watching, seeing how the captain totally abandoned his own men like a coward. What a total jerk. He left Kalana and the remaining troops to fend for themselves against an unpredictable monster in the form of a tiny, furious red orc. Gu is running on pure instinct now. No thoughts, just rage. He is totally out of control as he slams his head against the ground in absolute frustration. He missed his chance to grab Shuya, and it is driving him insane. In just a few minutes, Gu has been through a lifetime of physical and emotional trauma. His wounds are deep, but the physical pain is nothing compared to the agony of letting that bastard Shuya escape alive. This is pure, unfiltered heartbreak. He lets out a scream of regret that actually shakes the battlefield. You can feel the ground trembling under his knees as Elder Goran slowly tries to stand up. Goran is a mess, covered in blood and weakened because 50% of Graham was stolen. He forces his eyes open just to see little Go suffering in pain. The main threat gone, Gu falls into this weird catatonic state while still standing. Through the smoke and fire, you can hear something moving. It is the mages. These guys were left behind by their boss after risking everything for that barrier. Now, all they can feel is the terrifying pressure coming off this little kid. The air itself feels heavy and menacing. As soon as they try to pull a Shuya and run away, the unmoving blood orc snaps into action. He senses them. Gu pours every last bit of strength into his legs and launches like a rocket. Both Wrath and Envy soldiers are scrambling to get out of this nightmare. Good luck with that. There's a little orc on the loose who is absolutely starving for demon blood. His first target has no idea what is coming. Watch closely now because this little orc is about to go absolutely feral on these demons. He lands a kick with so much weight that the mage just flies. It is a brutal hit that sends the demon spiraling into the air. With a sickening thud, his head is buried in the dirt. One down, many to go. Another demon looks at Go with pure terror in his eyes. He knows that if he stands there, he is dead meat, so he makes a run for it. He's sprinting for his life on those shaky legs, but Gu is like a heat-seeking missile, cutting off the escape route and aiming a kick right at the skull. It is swift, forceful, and honestly, way too brutal for us to show you the full details here. Kalana is just watching this chaos with total annoyance. She cannot wrap her head around how a tiny orc has this much power. They are being slaughtered by a kid with the ferocity of a vicious monster. Look at that moon hanging over what is left of the village. Up on a mountain, a winged demon with a grotesque tail has been watching everything unfold. He is loving this unexpected drama. Everything started because of Shuya's crazy schemes, And now this demon is imagining the demon lord's reaction to the news. He is cackling like a total lunatic while standing above the burning village. It is a thrill for him. He takes a leap of faith, falling toward the ground. At the very last second, he flips around and snaps his wings open. He disappears into the night sky, and honestly, that cannot be good for anyone involved. Back on the ground, Kalana is still fuming about this disaster. Captain Shuya ran off, and Captain Zeke is currently dying in a pool of his own blood. These guys were supposed to be the elite, the strongest demons in the army. Instead, they were wrecked or chased away by a single young orc kid. Gu is looking rough, too. The fire around him makes him literally hot, but his injuries are no joke. Even Elder Goran is coughing up blood and bile. Those golden scales on his body are starting to fade. His breathing is getting heavy and slow. He is literally teetering on the very edge of death. You and I both know he is hurting, but the rage keeping him standing is unreal. Kalana finally decides to end this and activates Soulcast on her spear. She is an officer of the Wrath Army, and she will not let a kid keep killing her men. She primes her weapon, spinning it to build up momentum. She finds the perfect angle and the perfect amount of power. She never misses. She yells at the other soldiers to clear the area before she fires. Her attack is about to level everything. But before she can throw it, a familiar bloody ponytail appears in the air, signifying the strength of the village. A lightning-fast strike zooms across the battlefield with deadly intent. It looks like it is going straight for Gu, who is currently screaming like a beast. Suddenly, a massive figure jumps into the frame to shield the boy. Elder Goran uses every single drop of strength left in his body to stop the strike. He takes the hit to stop a deadly sneak attack. Gu finally snaps out of it when he sees a bloody blade sticking out of the Elder's back. The blade went straight through Goran and even grazed Gu's shoulder. If you thought that was Kalana's spear, you were dead wrong. It is the Dark Knight. He has been desperately searching for the Beastmaster. This mysterious guy finally opens his mouth, relieved that he found Gudum the Dragon at last. See, if the spirit beast dies, so does its master. Elder Goran was already dying, but this blade in his chest just speedrun the whole process. He coughs out a massive amount of blood as the air leaves his lungs. With his final bit of orc tenacity, he reaches out for the speechless Gao. He grabs the kid's head, making Gu jump in fright. Goran is using his last moments to speak to his old friend Grom inside his own mind. Goodbyes are always the hardest part, especially when you are pushed to the limit like this. The bond they shared was something truly special to witness. Goran's vision is fading, but he holds on just long enough to say what needs to be said. The sacrifice he made for Gu was absolute. You can see the light leaving his eyes. This is the end of a legend, and the start of something much darker for our little hero Gao. The silence on the battlefield is deafening now. The mages are gone, the captains are gone, and only the echoes of tragedy remain in the air. Gu stands there, frozen, as his mentor's life slips away. It is a moment that will change the course of his entire life forever. And that is where we leave them. Trust me, you are going to want to see what happens next. The path of revenge has just begun. Alright, stick with me. You are about to witness the tragic moment. Everything breaks as Gu's crimson skin fades and he wakes up in tears, reaching for Goran. Goran has only one final request. He wants the Golden Dragon to protect the young lad, who is the very last orc of the Bubis clan. The Elder pleads for their long partnership. When Gu reverts, all the pain finally catches up to him and he passes out on the floor. The Dark Knight pulls his blade from the Elder's back, spraying even more orc blood across the dirt. It is a gruesome sight to behold. Goran feels his organs getting shredded as the blade exits. He lets out a scream of pure, unbearable agony that echoes across the entire battlefield. A few seconds later, the great Beastmaster closes his eyes forever. He fought like a hero, dying to protect the next generation of orcs. Gu realizes exactly how much the old man loved him. He slips back into unconsciousness with tears streaming down his face as his world shatters. Anna is still on the field, gripping her spear tight. Her big moment was totally ruined and her glory stolen by this mysterious new figure. She cannot really complain though, since the Beastmaster is dead without her lifting a finger. The Dark Knight calmly cleans his bloodied blade. Lana finally gets a good look at the killer who appeared out of thin air. She recognizes the hooded figure as the legendary Forsaken One. She calls him the Forsaken One. Now, look closely far away from the Orc lands, people are just going about their normal day as if nothing happened. An old man is getting yelled at for being cranky about missing his dumplings. Even the demon settlements are surprisingly relaxed and chill as hell right now. Two youths are comparing their muscles. But the common denominator across all these places is a single bounty poster for one very specific, wanted individual. Those feeling lucky, bringing in the Forsaken One, earns 20,000 gold, dead or alive. Some newbie adventurers are staring at the poster right now. Their eyes are glued to the massive bounty on his head. It is easily the biggest reward anyone has ever seen for a single target in history. The newbies are way too confident, bragging about taking the Forsaken One's life. But Chris, a platinum-ranked adventurer, overhears their ridiculous and stupid talk. This tells them to forget about the bounty if they want to live. The rookies are confused why a pro would discourage them like this. They think it is just their job, but Chris knows better. He admits they should keep the peace, but this task is literally impossible. You would need a whole army to take down the Forsaken One. This revelation leaves the young adventurers completely shocked and questioning their life choices. The veteran gives them one last tip. If they ever see the shadow of that criminal, they should just turn around and run for their lives. That terrifying figure just crashed the party and killed both the Golden Dragon and the Beastmaster. The power scale here is just totally broken. Seriously, who would have thought the Elder would fall to a different beast instead of a demon? It is a total shock that nobody saw coming. To make things worse, an Envy Army mage starts screaming a warning about dark elves. He immediately gets a vicious blade to the neck for his loud mouth. Then the Night Walkers start pouring in with lethal speed, not letting the small fries get a single chance to fight back against their deadly blitz attack. Commander Camille enters like a superhero. She orders her elite crew to spill demon blood and let nobody pass them alive today. These Night Walkers are the best of the best for a reason. They are fast, coordinated, and incredibly efficient at ending lives in the dark. Sienna's headache is getting worse. The Dark Elves are no joke, and her troops are in no condition to survive another brutal round of combat right now. Each elf has a unique weapon. We already know Rand's and his multi-purpose dagger on a string. It is a crazy weapon. Those strings wrap around the Forsaken One's joints, stopping him from moving. He is trapped in a deadly, inescapable bind. He should be trapped in an inescapable bind, but this mysterious guy just stands there, looking completely unbothered by the whole situation. Layla is the Night Walker's top brawler. Tonight, she's going up against the man every adventurer fears. She knows this will be her toughest fight. This is going to be a struggle. Meanwhile, Shanna tells her remaining soldiers to pull it together and start their retreat immediately before they die. They try to run, but a normal demon is not fast enough to outrun an elven assassin. The Night Walkers strike without a single hint of hesitation. The Night Walkers strike and kill without a single hint of hesitation. They do not mind getting their blades dirty with demon blood. But going up against the beating Buddha is a different story. That old demon's strength is in a league of its own. Quick kills are impossible here, so defense is necessary. Foz knows that and starts doing what he does best, going on a total rampage with reckless abandon. One unlucky Night Walker takes a direct hit and gets sent flying with his sword shattered into pieces. That is some serious force. Kalana uses this chance to have Claw's deal keep the momentum going and push the reinforcements back. Claws is happy to oblige and gets to work. He pulls out his elaborate horn to blast some menacing tunes. He screams into it with gusto, and his voice is amplified multiple times by magic. This sonic boom interrupts the Night Walker's unstoppable push and slaughter. Sienna spots one of her remaining mages and shouts for him to provide cover. He must provide cover now. The demon army always respects hierarchy, regardless of their sin. The Envy Mage immediately follows the lieutenant's orders without question. Another surviving mage joins in, and the duo conjures a massive smoke screen that quickly envelops the entire battlefield, hiding their desperate and messy retreat. As the smoke thickens, we see Sienna retreating among her troops who are running for their lives. The Night Walkers eventually manage to push through. The Night Walkers break through the smoke, weapons drawn and ready to kill. But Commander Camille suddenly orders her elite crew to stop their pursuit right now. Chasing cowardly demons is no longer the priority. They have an infinitely more dangerous matter to deal with, and you and I need to see Layla's move. Stick with me. You are about to watch the Forsaken One ask why this mystery man even joined the war. The reinforcements from the Elf Kingdom had arrived. The blacksmith's hands are shaking in disbelief as she touches the cold body of Chief Garrick. Gulen has arrived just a tad bit too late with her spirit beast. She cannot believe the strongest orcs were taken out so brutally. Tears are flowing as her muffled screams fill the air. Suddenly, a terrifying thought strikes her mind. Where in the world is her son, Go? She needs to find her precious son right this second. Motherly instincts kick into high gear as she dashes toward the war zone. She finds Elder Green standing right over her boy where Elder Green was located along with the bleeding body of Gu. He is swimming in a pool of blood. The chief is dead and her son is critical. Ran also made his way to this tragic reunion. He checks the vitals and tells Gulen the kid is alive but unconscious for now. Based on his savagely destroyed face, it is clear the young orc is suffering massive trauma all over his body. Her son is still fighting for his life. Gulen's grief turns into unbridled anger toward the Forsaken One. She wants to punch the lights out of the enigmatic figure for appearing in a place where he was never welcome. Luckily, Lila was there to stop her. Gulen understood that she cannot let emotions consume her, but it is still hard to hold back when your loved ones are in this state. The Forsaken One finally made a move. Pay attention, because it was so fast it was invisible. He was already sheathing his sword as the magical strings were cut into tiny pieces. Then he walks forward slowly, every step carrying an indomitable weight. The Nightwalkers braced, they were unsure if they could hold a candle to such a menace. The Forsaken just casually walks past them without doing anything, outrightly threatening. Ran is furious at being snubbed. They are the pride of the elf kingdom, but were ignored, so he decided to pick up his dagger and attack from behind with reckless energy. Forsaken will not let an assassin mistake him as non-violent. Walk for weakness. He draws his blade again. The next thing you know, the dagger has shattered into a million pieces. The force behind the undetectable strike was so powerful it almost blew Rand's body away. The Forsaken states he has nothing against the orc named Gu. He has nothing against the Beastmaster, Ran, or anyone else here. His beef is with Groot, the dragon god. He does not care what these dark elves, orcs, or demons call him. He is incapable of feeling sympathy for their loss. He is just standing by his principles. You and I can see her anger flaring even higher. This guy thinks he can walk away from doing something unforgivable without a target on his back, and that is precisely how he feels, and he is not apologizing for it. The Forsaken One jumped to the mountains in a single leap, leaving everyone speechless. Gulen screams in anger, asking the Nightwalkers why they did not even try to stop the Forsaken One from leaving. That guy killed Guran right in front of them. Lila reasoned that there's simply nothing they could do. Everyone knows the Forsaken One. Nightwalkers might be the greatest assassins in the realm, but they would undoubtedly lose all their lives if they decided to go on an all-out war against such a monster. That guy battles gods by himself. Gulen was aware of that, but she is overwhelmed. The entire Bubas village is burning down in a blaze of mass destruction, leaving only the corpses of orcs and pools of blood soaking the soil. When the sun came up, the cleanup was left to the Nightwalkers to take care of. They extinguished the flames and gathered the bodies, arranging the fallen warriors neatly out of respect. The dark elves took everything of value that could still be salvaged from the destruction and piled it up in one place. Gulen wrapped it around the unconscious body of her son. She turned the cloth into a carrying hammock to move Gu toward the only unburnt building was located at the highest point of a cliff. There, Gulen saw something that almost broke her completely. She saw dead neighbors that she grew up around. They were mutilated by heartless demons. Auntie Garam was lifeless and covered with her own blood. On the other side was the familiar yellow uniform the doctor's assistant always wears. She was surrounded by the earth formations beckoned through the newly acquired spirit beast. From a single glance, Gulen could tell it was Dura. Behind them were the rest of the orcs, both the young and the old. Civilians were crushed just for the hell of it all. Gulen crouched down to pick up a toy. Lila cannot believe her eyes. These cruel demons massacred innocent people. No one deserves this. Meaningless war. Ran is someone deeply connected with his emotions. Right now, what he feels in his heart is unbearably painful. It was manifesting physically. He kneels and tells Gulen that he is accountable for the terrible things that happened. He knew that, had he not come here for refuge, these meaningless deaths would not have happened. The Dark Elf knew asking for forgiveness, but his heart just could not take the guilt. Ran asks Gulen to make use of his life. Lila interjected that her comrade had already sworn his life to Lord Jessel. All he can offer to atone for his blunder is his life of punishment if it would ease the pain of the grieving heart of Gulen. She says mistakes are one thing, but this is. Nothing in this world can ever give those innocent lives back. So Ran can just go ahead and let that heavy guilt rot his soul. And that is where we leave it. You and I saw Gulen walk away with Gu looking tough. Alright, you and I are about to see a tough warrior finally break down into a mess of tears. Even though she's heartbroken, they are short-handed, so she has to keep hauling corpses in her wooden wagon. Luckily, Lila was waiting just outside for Gulen to pass. She wanted to at least help the poor injured little Gao. Moments like this remind us that at the end of the day, Go is just a kid. His home is gone and his blood orc form really messed him up. Lila has a plan to stop the young orc's suffering. She carries him all the way up a steep cliff, where an ancient, massive tree stands tall. She gently places Go on the old roots and begins her chant. It is time for some high-level forest magic to fix what has been broken. She prays to the great god Kaza Bhutan for nature's restoration. Instantly, the lush green leaves of that giant tree start to wither and blow away. Lila is using a forbidden life trade spell, killing the tree to speed up Go's recovery. This is some heavy magic right here. When Lila returns the boy to his mother, she explains that the wounds are closed and the pain is gone. He just needs rest now. Go is in a deep slumber, needing time to heal. Meanwhile, Gulen keeps hauling the dead bodies of her fallen tribe members. Ran is following her around like a guilty puppy, and Gulen is definitely not happy about it. He just can't move on without helping out. She finally gives in, Gulen style. She yells at him to get his ass moving and find another cart to help haul these bodies down the hill. It is a grim start, but it is a start. The Nightwalkers focus on the demons, while Gulen and Lila lift the body of Elder Guran. As they prepare to line him up with the others, the ground begins to shake. Now listen closely, that is not the sound of horses. If you were expecting cavalry, you would be disappointed, but if you wanted massive wolves with sharp claws, then you are in the right place. Orc reinforcements from Boot Village have finally arrived on their wolf mounts. Honestly, they are way too late if you ask me. Gulen is just relieved to see the commander, an imposing orc woman who is a total beast on the battlefield. A real warrior has arrived. After hearing the tragic news, the commander orders her army to help with the cleanup. These burly soldiers start gathering logs for the massive funeral pyre. The orcs work with heavy hearts, handling ropes and hay for their fallen brothers. It is a somber scene as the sun begins to set. By nightfall, Go finally wakes up, but the emotional scars of battle still sting. The Boot orcs have finished building individual deathbeds for every victim. It is time for the final ceremony. Words are spoken to honor the fallen heroes before the fire is lit to send them to the next world. Guran the Beastmaster was a true legend. He spent hundreds of years protecting the peace with his brave warriors, and now he's finally gone. The legend has come to rest. The only ones to blame are the greedy demons who slaughtered innocent people just to feed their own damn egos. The commander urges everyone to never forget this day. The atrocities that happen here in Bubis will not go unpunished. Payback is definitely coming. Seeing the demons as targets lights a fire in every warrior. They let out a massive war cry as Go watches the flames consume his friends. He feels like a total failure. They paid with their lives because he wasn't strong enough. He failed them all, and it is eating him alive. Gramps Guran and Chief Garrick believed in him, and he let them down. He even failed his constantly angry auntie in her final moments. The weight of letting his entire tribe down is crushing him. He even thinks of the other kids he used to play with on the block. He remembers the last thing his auntie said before his adventure. The waterworks start flowing, and he is a mess of tears and snot. Elder Garrick's body burns bright on the haystack. He looks at peace, but Go can only think about that arrogant demon captain's twisted face. Can't forget how that monster stole the spirit beast from the old orc. If he remembers right, that demon's name is Shu Yan. That is him. Shu Yan is the reason all these people are turning to ash right now. And I know what you are thinking, revenge is going to be brutal. His grief is turning into pure, unadulterated hatred. Meanwhile, back in the Elf Kingdom, K-Mors is still trying to reach Bubas in his full heavy gear. His stamina is completely gone, but he is almost at the border. He has been running for a long time and is reaching his limit. One look tells you this guy is not going to make it. His legs are wobbly and he is huffing like he ran a marathon. Finally, this forgettable side character just crashes out. He drops to his knees, completely weakened and desperate for a single drop of water. He screams for Lila before even leaving elf territory, but nobody can hear him. Besides, much more important things are happening in the ruins of Bubas. Let's check back in with a character that actually matters, Lomi, with her wild talons and epic shoulders. She is the peak specimen of her species. She is a white blur leaving everyone in the dust. But suddenly, a familiar face spots her while she is racing around the snake area. Lomi hits the manual brakes, stopping her insane momentum with her feet until smoke and skid marks cover the ground. Talk about a pro move. She did that master maneuver because she saw something beautiful. A real, live worm was crawling on the ground, just begging to be a snack. Last time she missed a chance like this, but things are different now. She is stronger, faster, and ready to claim her prize today. Just look at those chicken muscles. The bird starts gliding across the ground at breakneck speeds, her neck somehow handling all that insane force. Her eyes are locked onto the target. This is the tastiest snack in the whole world, and nothing is going to stop her this time. Even without her Dark Elf Master's orders, Lomi's supercharged attack is as crispy as ever. That gummy worm is done for. The little guy was just whistling and minding his own business in the woods. But as you and I know, that peaceful moment is about to end very painfully. All right, you and I are about to watch a chicken commit a crime against nature. Lomi was ready to gulp down this snack of the gods, or specifically, the chicken gods. She pulled back just in time, sensing something big coming. Lomi started flapping those wings fast. Good thing too, because she dodged a massive crash right where that worm was chilling. But who was behind that sneak attack? It is our old buddy the snake. He has been thirsting for revenge ever since that failed goblin lair raid happened before. Today is different. He brought a whole squad to jump one chicken. First up, a deer who looks like he has seen some serious war. Next, an ape that looks perpetually constipated. Then a random boar who clearly has no idea where he is or what is even happening. Total confusion on that one. Then we have got a fox who looks oddly human and is definitely up to no good. And of course, the snake. Arrogant, hungry, and honestly, just terrible at picking a fight he can actually win. Now, watch this part closely. There is a weird rabbit thing. Can you guys even tell what that is? The deer asks if Lomi is their target. You know, the one who bullied the snake. The boar warns them not to underestimate her since she crushed the snake before. Plus, he senses some massive power nearby. The snake protests, claiming he was not bullied. He just had some bad luck. But with these numbers, they are convinced it is winner chicken dinner time. Meanwhile, Lomi is just watching these idiots talk. The cocky bird spits on them with maximum disrespect. Truth be told, she does not even remember who this snake guy is. She has no clue who they are or how they know her. But ruining her snack, that is something she will never forgive. According to the laws of Lomi, messing with her lunch is a crime punishable by death. She drops into a fighting stance. Wings open, target locked. Coincidentally, this is the exact moment Elder Goron was about to go on a total killing spree. After he leaps into the fray, his dragon spirit beast, Gudum, takes to the sky. It is so bright it acts like a beacon. The dark clouds split, revealing a glimpse of heaven. All of this epicness happens right as Lomi is getting ready to strike. From the animal's perspective, it looks like Lomi summoned that dragon herself. Then, a massive shockwave hits the whole group, knocks most of them out. Even the trees are struggling to stay rooted as the wind turns into a hurricane. The snake recovers first from being blown away by that crazy force. Once everyone wakes up, they all kneel in unison. Snake goes from hater to total fanboy instantly. He even announces that Lomi is now the new leader of the forest. The animals are convinced they just saw her true power. And just like that, Lomi has been crowned the new monarch. She's just thinking, holy bok, I know what you are thinking. She did not even have to lift a feather. Fame gets old fast. Her new followers are being annoying as they make their way towards Bubba Village. Suddenly, they spot the Forsaken One in the forest. After seeing that spirit beast earlier, Lomi knows better than to mess with him. The animal squad stares, and he stares back stiffly. Just one look is enough to terrify this cowardly bunch. Their best plan? Act like dumb animals and throw a tantrum. The Forsaken One is definitely not impressed by the show. At least, they did not make him angry. Lomi and the God Slayer share a meaningful look as they pass each other. It is like two peers acknowledging each other's power. He continues his rush while Lomi keeps moving forward too. Under her breath, the queen prays for her master to stay safe because, honestly, she is completely and utterly lost. A few days pass after the village was destroyed. Let us look at what is happening in the rest of the world. In the human kingdom, Guildmaster France walks with heavy steps. He is heading to the infirmary to check on Red. The lucky guy has a bunny girl nurse. Sadly, the rest of their party did not make it out alive. Spade, a high-ranked adventurer, shows up to talk to France. He is holding a very ominous-looking card. The card gets them into a secret dungeon. Inside, they have got a prisoner with a badly broken leg. It is Slick, the Greed Demon Scout. They caught him alive, even if he is a bit banged up. Thanks to the Guildmaster, Spade can finally get some real answers about what the demon army is actually planning. Somewhere else, a king and a massive orc stand together. They are waiting to welcome some very special guests. Two old guys in tracksuits show up. One is a small bald elder, the other looks like a Dragon Ball character. The king looks stunned to see them. Meanwhile, in the elf forest, Lord Jessel receives some incredibly dark news. It might be about an old friend passing away. The report from his knights awakens a sleeping fire inside the king. He quickly gathers his 5 strongest generals. This group includes a powerful woman who is a master of the sword. Another looks like a top-tier paladin with a serious attitude. Across from her is a young man in golden armor. He might be young, but he looks like he can handle himself. Trust me, you and I need to watch him. Alright, you and I are about to see how this brutal battle finally wraps up. Check out this armored knight. Those scars prove he's been through literal hell. Check the deer skull mask. Underneath, a total unit. Back in the village, things finally calm down since the goblin lair is nothing but a memory now. Hosan and Rashan are back to simple farming, and Mara is finally safe, after almost becoming a snack for some creepy goblin god ritual. Close call, right? Speaking of goblins, looks like the Dead King's losers actually survived. They're still as chaotic as ever, probably still trying to recruit our boy Ghoul. Nobody really knows what happened to Bubis yet, except for the troops from Bout. And trust me, the Orc King sitting on that throne is not happy. This big guy just found out his neighbors got wiped out, and he is fuming. You can practically see the steam coming off his head from here. He's so tilted he snapped the message tube like a toothpick. The late reinforcements looked absolutely crushed while gathering the weapons of their fallen brothers. Gulen hasn't stopped working to make sure her people get a proper send-off. They fought tooth and nail until the very end, and she respects that. Up on the cliff, where that old tree died to save Ghoul, they set up a memorial. All those blood-stained blades are a grim reminder of the war. Gulen kneels down, placing a heavy hammer on the altar. Little Ghoul follows his mom's lead, carefully adding a meat cleaver to the pile of memories. It's their way of honoring the warriors who stayed true to the end. Seeing all those familiar tools just sitting there really hits different, doesn't it? Auntie Jam's butcher knife sits right in the middle of it all. Now that the dust has settled, the neighboring orcs are left with nothing but grief. They packed up and headed back to Boot, realizing just how fragile an orc village is against monsters they don't even understand. Truly, a wake-up call. Even the night walkers are packing their bags. Gulen didn't care about Bubis anymore. She's just numb from burying her entire neighborhood. It's just too much. He just gives the Dark Elves a tired wave goodbye. Commander Kamuel bows back with a look that says everything words just can't express right now. With the Orc village behind them, this elite team of elven assassins is off to their next mission. Wherever the Lord's orders send them, they'll go. Ghoul is still in rough shape, covered in bandages and barely able to walk. The poor kid is just resting at the back of the wagon for now. Who knows where fate is taking them next? That's probably exactly what's going through our young hero's head as he watches the road fade into the distance. Now stick with me, because we need to see what's happening on the dark side. Ghoul's seen too much war, but look, Vice Captain Izel is awake. He's got that killer glare back already. Voss, the beating Buddha, is back to being a chill old man, and Klaus Diehl is, well, still Klaus Diehl. Kalana is stepping up, though. She led the survivors to safety after their army took a massive beating, and yeah, they lost their big boss too. Sitting at the peak of the demon world is a man with terrifying power. This demon king is on a whole other level of cool and scary. He just dropped a bombshell, claiming someone committed a grave sin against their laws, and he's looking directly at the trio responsible for the failed invasion. Sorman, the Baron, and their trash boss are the ones in the hot seat. The big demon on the throne wants answers, and he wants them now. He demands a full report from his winged pet, right from the mouth of the Envy Army captain. And man, this guy's look is a total surprise. You'd expect Shu Ya-un to be some old geezer, but nope, he's a literal purple Hulk now. The bastard somehow turned back his own clock to get buff. You know what you're thinking? This guy is going to be a massive headache for our MC. Every time Ghoul sleeps, he sees Shuya stealing his spirit. He feels totally helpless. Ghoul just wants the nightmare to end, but those memories keep playing on a loop, haunting his every single thought. His innocent eyes shouldn't have seen such cruelty. He screamed for the old man's pain to stop, but the world just wasn't listening to him. The screams just got louder. In his dream, the floor is literally drowning in blood while he kneels there, watching the horror unfold all over again. One second, he sees Gramps getting shredded. The next, he's standing in a field of corpses. It's a never-ending cycle of trauma for our little guy. Then he's back with Elder Guran. Shuya might be gone, but the damage is done. The blood is spilled, and you can't just take back that pain. Ghoul remembers the old man's final plea to Groot to take care of the boy. The kid doesn't fully get it yet, but it's heavy stuff. His head, Shuya, looks like a literal monster, a nightmare that'll always be lurking in the shadows, waiting for the day the demons attack again. Suddenly, the vision is cut short by a legendary blade, putting an end to the war. Ghoul snaps awake, crying his eyes out from the sheer intensity. People around him are heartbroken. Rand sits right there, reaching out a hand to Ghoul's shoulder to check if he's actually back with them. Ghoul realizes it was just a hyper-realistic nightmare. He tries to play it cool and says he's fine, but he's fooling absolutely nobody right now. Layla and Gulen know he's lying. You can't just scream in your sleep and pretend everything's okay. His mom just pulls him into a tight hug. Ghoul starts whimpering again as soon as he feels her warmth. Gulen whispers that it's okay to let it all out, and that's the breaking point. The poor kid just becomes a sobbing mess. He's been through so much trauma, but thankfully, he doesn't have to face it alone anymore. His mom is his rock, even though she's grieving too. Finally, their wagon pulls up to Bout, the massive orc city that's going to be their home. This place is way bigger than their old village. The walls are huge, and the architecture? Let's just say it's got a very edgy orc vibe. Soldiers escort them as they enter the gates. Citizens are gathered around, waiting to see the reinforcements and the guests who survived the massacre. Chieftain Doc Tunder personally comes out to greet them. He's welcoming, but honestly, with everything that's happened, there's really nothing to celebrate today. So, you and I are left wondering, what's next for this broken group? Gulen, Ghoul, Ran, and Layla, their journey is just beginning. Alright, you and I are about to see that even the biggest brutes have manners. He hopped out of the wagon to pay respects, showing that Dak Thunder and his crew were actually quite respectful. The gesture was returned. Golan broke the silence, personally giving the chieftain a full rundown of every horrific thing that happened during the war. Seeing that Elder Guran wasn't there, Dak realized even the great Beastmaster hadn't made it out of that absolute hell alive. Golan recalled the horror demons burning Bubbas to the ground, killing every last orc, and not even sparing the children in their mindless slaughter. Dak placed a massive, comforting hand on her shoulder. That strong grip was his way of signaling that he understood her pain perfectly. The chieftain's one big regret was that Elder Guran chose peace over power, ignoring every warning to prepare his men for an inevitable battle. He failed to keep them sharp. In the end, he effectively threw away his own life and the lives of those he was supposed to protect. Hearing this from a stranger felt like a slap in the face to go. How dare this guy trash the Elder's memory? He gripped his crutch in pure rage. Chief Dak was actually amused by the kid's glare. He didn't scold him. Honestly, he liked seeing that Gu still had some fire and anger left inside him. Because Gu isn't the only one who's pissed off. Everyone is. And here in Butte, they've been ready for a fight for a long time now. Dak raised his voice, making sure everyone could hear. He proclaimed that the orcs of Butte are always prepared to fight and die for their honor. Pay attention, because this promise is huge. Dak swore to Gulen they would strike back against the demons who caused them so much suffering. Dak raised his hand, leading the tribe in a massive war cry. The morale was electric. Huga Baruga forever. Talk about a hype moment. First stop in Butte, the local smithy. And man, this place was worlds apart from those elven shops or the janky forge back in Bubiz. The building was grand and intimidating. Inside sat the resident blacksmith and Gulen's old comrade, a guy named Gareth Muck. Seeing a familiar face finally cheered her up. These two had spent years together, collaborating on all sorts of badass weapons in the past. He noticed she brought company. Dark elves? That's definitely a rare sight in these parts, as Ran and Lila's kind usually keep to themselves. Well-trained night walkers bowed respectfully, offering their greetings to the master blacksmith of this seriously impressive city. Gareth was happy to meet a respectful crew, but one visitor stood out, a little kid just standing there like a silent ghost. Gulen knelt down to properly introduce her son. But Gu? The kid didn't even twitch a single facial muscle. Talk about cold. Gareth knelt too, checking Go out from head to toe. He didn't know Gulen had a son, but the kid looked way too skinny. In Butte, muscles are everything. So, Gulen decided to slam her buddy's back with the most powerful casual slap she could manage. Since they'd be staying a while, Gulen wanted to see the rooms. Gareth laughed and fired back with a heavy slap of his own. He chuckled, pretending he almost forgot the tour. For these two old friends, this rough housing was just all fun and games. Having a legendary blacksmith stay at his humble shop was a huge honor. While she toured the place, Gao decided to head out. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Gu is really changing here. Gulen told him to stay safe, but he insisted on being totally alone now. The Dark Elf was totally shocked. Since when did this kid become so sullen? Go walked out to explore the city with nothing but his wooden crutch. He took in the sights, seeing the massive orcs of Butte. It felt strangely like home. Gu just kept walking until he reached the gates. At the gates, a guard checked to see if the kid would be okay alone. Gu respectfully answered that he'd be just fine. The guard took a long look at him and decided to let the kid wander off. It was obvious the boy desperately needed some space. Terrain and wildlife around here were totally foreign. He passed strange animals and trekked across land he had never seen in his life. A colorful bird started following him during his silent meditation. It was all very deep and serious until the bird landed on his bald head. When the bird finally flew off, it left a little stinky gift right on Gu's head. Surprisingly, even that nonsense didn't break his pensive mood. He just kept walking with bird poop on his head. Eventually, he entered a wooded area where it felt like something was watching. Gu walked for so long that the trees now blocked out the moonlight entirely. He finally reached up and grabbed the mess on his head. The old Gu would have thrown a massive fit, but now, he was so deep in this magical place that he barely even noticed. He looked at his hand. There were still some remnants stuck on his head. It looked exactly like a tiny chocolate kiss. After tossing the bird poop aside, Gu stumbled onto a fairly tall hill. The climb reminded him of the days when he wanted to conquer everything. Back home, he used to scream his heart out. Looking back, those were probably his best memories. Shouting your name into the wild, pure freedom. He remembered those cheesy monologues about how great views are only for legends. He really believed he'd journey to the lands beyond the horizon. He wanted to be Go, the mighty conqueror of mountains. Just saying those ambitious words used to give him a boundless sense of happiness. But calling himself Gu the Great now, it just sounds like a bad joke. Gu the Great at getting lost is probably more accurate. All that self-pity and low confidence actually made him trip. It felt like a spectral kick from the afterlife delivered by his favorite aunt. Gu grimaced. He was definitely lost now. He looked angry, but at least that empty look was gone. He finally chucked his crutch away. And that's where we leave it. He's heading deeper into the woods with only fireflies to guide him. You and I can see he's leaving his old self behind. All right, you and I are diving into a story where failing to bring home a wyvern egg meant a guaranteed beating from Auntie Jaram back home. You could practically feel her meat cleaver chasing him like always. But then it hit him. That life is over. Gull started sobbing, realizing everything he knew was gone. Bubis was completely wiped off the map. Along with the other orcs, all his precious memories and daily routines were just dust now. It was a lot to take in. Snot and tears covered his face as he let it all out. But little did the young orc know, two mysterious figures were watching him from the shadows. Once he got closer, Gull sensed something was off. He spotted the two hidden figures, but strangely enough, they seemed way more terrified of him than he was of them. He stepped into the light, revealing themselves as fox hybrids. The big guy had tattoos while the smaller one was rocking some light armor. Talk about a weird pair. Gull was totally shocked and scared at the same time. Meanwhile, The fox duo just clung to each other in pure terror. It was a whole lot of screaming. After minutes of screaming for no reason, everyone finally chilled out. The fox in the light armor turned out to be a pretty relaxed guy. They even grabbed the crutch Gull dropped on the trail. The light fox warned him not to throw stuff around because that crutch landed right on his head. Now sporting a nasty bump, the fox waited for an apology. Gull could only scratch his cheek awkwardly and say sorry to his brand new forest buddy. The heavy fox asked why a young orc was wandering this spooky forest all alone. Since it was getting chilly, he decided it was time to get a fire going. They set up camp in a small clearing. Once the bonfire was crackling, the three of them sat together, finally shaking off that freezing night air. Here is the part where things get awkward. Gull broke the silence by mentioning he had never actually seen a pair of talking dogs before. The duo was immediately offended. They are proud members of the fox family, thank you very much. They are way different from common dogs, or so they claim. Gull was still skeptical, so he reached out to touch the big guy's scruffy face. The fox hated it at first, until Gull started giving him some head scratches. Apparently, he loved that way too much. Gull finally admitted he was only in the forest because he was hopelessly lost. He was a long way from home. Turns out the foxes were travelers too. They might be outsiders, but they knew these woods like the back of their hands. They were out hunting for valuables. Just to be clear, they are not bandits. The heavy fox even snapped at his buddy for even mentioning the B word. They really care about their reputation. They are trying so hard to be respectable, but the dumb one keeps messing it up. Seeing their chaotic dynamic actually made Gull laugh for the first time in forever. Big Fox worried they looked like a total joke, but hey, it is not like this poor orc kid has anything worth stealing anyway. Wait, did he just say orc kid? The duo suddenly froze as the reality set in. They started panicking about what that actually meant for them. They screamed and scrambled away from Gull in pure terror. This made the poor kid panic too, thinking there was some invisible monster sneaking up behind him. The foxes frantically asked if more orcs were hiding in the trees using him as bait. Gull had to promise them that he was totally alone. That finally calmed their nerves. Gull was just confused. Like, what is the big deal? Well, apparently the orcs around here are on a whole different level. Boot is famous for producing massive, muscular orcs who can slap you from a mile away. Just the thought of them is enough to make any bandit shake. Light Fox mentioned their city is called the Ironclad Boot. He even drew his shape in the air and gave it a big old slap for emphasis. Then the duo started howling at the moon like crazy. They keep insisting they are not dogs, but this behavior is definitely not helping their case. We'll agree that orcs are pretty amazing and dedicated. Though, maybe that legendary strength does not apply to the little guys like him just yet. Boot was exactly where he needed to go. These foxes knew the way, but they made it clear they were not going anywhere near that place. The Light Fox got serious and asked what really brought a kid out here. Gull kept it simple. He just needed to clear his head after everything. I know what you were thinking. He was just crying. The fox joked about it too, saying they definitely did not see him sobbing in the dark. Gull is still processing his grief, but the fox is sure he will be fine as long as he keeps moving forward. You just cannot stop. He told Gull to push through with all his might so he does not get stuck in the sadness. Those wise words really helped cheer the kid up. But before they called it a night, the big fox wanted to show off something special. He pulled out some peppers, calling them the new precious loot. Gull looked them over and realized he had seen these before. They were listed in his auntie's old book of rare herbs and exotic spices. The foxes were ready to cook them up. Gull usually prefers a big steak, but they promised him that these peppers were the real deal. Apparently, they are perfect for clearing your mind. Like, have you ever eaten something so spicy that you literally forget every single one of your problems? These things are so hot you might actually see the gods. The Light Fox did not hesitate and popped one right into his mouth. The intense heat immediately hit his tongue. He is a pro at this though, calmly letting the smoke pour out of his ears and snout. They offered one to Gull and told him to go for it. Being a tough orc, he ate the whole thing at once. Big mistake. He started coughing uncontrollably as smoke filled his lungs. The fox laughed while his buddy rushed over with some water to save the kid. After the heat died down, Gull asked what that crazy pepper even was. But a few seconds later, he honestly stopped caring about the answer. He felt like he was floating as the trees started spinning in circles. The heavy fox started panicking because he realized he made a huge mistake. Instead of plain water, he accidentally gave the kid their last bottle of secret elixir. But hey, there is still plenty left to go around. So what do you and I learn here? Mixing spice and elixirs leads to one thing, an epic, trippy singing session under the moon. Alright, you and I are about to witness the most legendary, totally not copyrighted karaoke night. They are vibing to a very suspicious cover of Young, Wild, and Free. Go is finally back to his happy self. They have been belting it out so hard that we are honestly risking a massive copyright strike from the labels. His Khalifa might actually sue. But hey, watching Goo make random friends after such a massive tragedy, that is exactly what the soul needs. But the next morning? Yeah, You and I both know that feeling. Gu's head is literally splitting open, and the duo blames it on the pepper? Sure, let's go with that. Today is finally the day they hit Pout so Gu can go home. Once they spot the city gates, the fox duo heads off on their own, probably off to find more trouble. Waiting outside the walls is Gulin, worried sick about her kid. The second she sees Gu, the shouting starts. She is absolutely laying into him for scaring her like that. Gu's reward for his little adventure? A massive bonk to his already throbbing Hun overhead. After she vents, Gulin calms down a bit. She tells her son that there are some people in the city searching for him. Wait for it, Gu hears voices that make his heart stop. It's the kids from Bubis. And you and I are about to see a miracle. They actually survived alongside Bob the Builder and Warrior Lowen. Gu starts crying the second he sees his old comrades are actually alive. He really thought they were gone forever. The kid tosses his crutch aside and dives in for a massive group hug with his best friends. It is a beautiful reunion, though you and I can probably smell Gu's stink from here. Music plays.